Today we will be discussing why you should not visit Pattaya alone. Pattaya is a popular tourist destination known for its nightlife, beaches, and entertainment. But it's important to understand the dangers and risks of traveling solo in this city. In this video, we'll be exploring the various dangers that solo travelers face and why it's important to be extra cautious when visiting Pattaya. Number 1. Crime and safety concerns. One of the main concerns when visiting Pattaya alone is a crime. The city has a high crime rate, with incidents ranging from theft, mugging, and scams. Solo travelers are particularly vulnerable as they are often seen as easy targets. To minimize the risk of theft, it's important to keep your valuables secure at all times. This means carrying a crossbody bag instead of a backpack, keeping your wallet and phone in a secure pocket, and not wearing expensive jewelry. When out and about, always be mindful of your surroundings and avoid walking in dark or deserted areas, especially at night. It's also important to be aware of scams and fraudulent activities that target tourists in Pattaya. These can range from fake taxi drivers to street vendors offering fake or counterfeit goods. To minimize the risk of falling victim to a scam, do your research beforehand and educate yourself on common scams in the area. Be cautious when dealing with street vendors or accepting offers from strangers, and never disclose sensitive information such as your passport or credit card details to anyone you don't trust. Another safety concern is the threat of physical harm. Pattaya is known for its vibrant nightlife, but this also means that alcohol and drugs are easily accessible. Drunken tourists can become targets for violence, and there have been cases of people being robbed or mugged after a night of partying. To minimize the risk of physical harm, it's important to drink in moderation and to never leave your drink unattended. When out at night, avoid walking alone and take a taxi or use public transportation instead. Make sure to pre-book a taxi from a reputable company and avoid accepting rides from street vendors or unlicensed taxis. Number 2. Prostitution and human trafficking. Another aspect of Pattaya that solo travelers need to be aware of is the city's association with prostitution and human trafficking. While prostitution is technically illegal in Thailand, it's widely accepted and prevalent in Pattaya. Solo travelers who venture into red light areas of the city may find themselves in dangerous and potentially harmful situations. To avoid these areas, it's important to research the city and its safer neighborhoods before your trip. You should also be mindful of the people you interact with, as women and children may be victims of human trafficking. To minimize the risk of exploitation or trafficking, never engage in any sexual activity with minors and always use protection when engaging in sexual activity. Additionally, be aware of the risks associated with sexual activity in general. Sex tourism is a significant problem in Pattaya, and it's important to be mindful of the potential for exploitation or abuse. To avoid putting yourself in a potentially dangerous situation, avoid engaging in sexual activity with anyone who seems to be offering their services for money. If you're looking for a sexual partner, consider using a reputable dating app or website, as this can help minimize the risk of exploitation or abuse. Number 3. Health risks. In addition to safety concerns, there are also significant health risks associated with visiting Pattaya alone. The city has a high incidence of sexually transmitted infections, and it's important to take precautions to protect yourself. To minimize the risk of contracting an STI, always use protection when engaging in sexual activity and make sure to get tested regularly. Additionally, be mindful of food and water safety when traveling to Pattaya. Street food can be delicious, but it's important to make sure it's prepared in a safe and hygienic manner. To minimize the risk of foodborne illness, avoid eating street food that's been sitting out in the sun and opt for well-cooked dishes instead. When it comes to drinking water, always opt for bottled water instead of tap water, and make sure to keep hydrated to avoid dehydration and heat exhaustion. It's also important to be mindful of other health risks associated with travel, such as altitude sickness, sun exposure, and insect-borne diseases. To minimize the risk of these and other health problems, make sure to take necessary precautions such as applying sunblock, wearing insect repellent, and avoiding strenuous activities during the hottest parts of the day. Number 4. Language barrier. Another factor to consider is the language barrier. Pattaya is a predominantly Thai-speaking city, and solo travelers may struggle to communicate with locals or navigate their way around the city. To minimize the risk of miscommunication or getting lost, it's important to familiarize yourself with the city and its public transportation options. Consider learning a few key phrases in Thai or carrying a translation guide to help you communicate with locals. If you need assistance, it's best to seek help from hotel staff or tour guides, as they'll be able to communicate in English. Number 5. Cultural sensitivity. Finally, it's important to be mindful of your behavior and cultural sensitivity when visiting Pattaya. Thailand has a rich and unique culture, and solo travelers must respect the customs and traditions of the local people. This means avoiding inappropriate or disrespectful behavior, such as walking around in revealing clothing or public displays of affection. Additionally, visitors should be mindful of the monarchy, as it's illegal to insult the king or the royal family. To show respect, avoid making negative comments or gestures, and always stand for the national anthem when it's played in public spaces. In conclusion, visiting Pattaya alone can be a thrilling experience, but it's essential to be mindful of the dangers and risks. From crime and safety concerns to health risks and cultural sensitivity, solo travelers must exercise caution and be aware of their surroundings at all times. If you are planning a trip to Pattaya, consider traveling with a group or booking a tour package that provides a guide and support. By following these tips, you can help ensure a safe and enjoyable trip to this beautiful city. Thank you for watching, and remember to always stay safe when traveling.